Hello, and welcome to Vaping 411 for Adults, presented by professional school counselors. This presentation is about the current crisis that we are facing in our nation regarding young adults, youth, preteens, teens, and adolescents vaping. Today, about 1 in 20 middle school students currently use e-cigarettes, and a majority of kids have seen them used in schools. Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it can have serious health consequences. This presentation will provide a variety of facts and information to let you know what you can do and how to help your child or other youth in regards to vaping. Vaping is the most common form of nicotine use. It's often known as a gateway, or what children use before they use other substances. And youth are commonly attracted to vaping because they can vape due to the devices being known as disguised or as everyday items, which you will see in a future slide. It's easily accessible. When students or children vape, it doesn't smell like typical cigarette tobacco nicotine. People believe that it's safer than smoking, and they also think that it's pretty cool. Here's a quick video about a pediatrician's overview of vaping. In this video, doctors explain what vaping is and the health effects of vaping.
When I talk to my patients, many of them talk about how they see vaping at their schools. Vaping is when someone uses a device that contains a liquid that is heated by a battery, and that vapor is inhaled into the lungs. They think that they're just flavors or water in the e-liquid, but inside the e-liquid there are a number of chemicals which are dangerous to the body.
Vaping is dangerous for youth. It contains toxic chemicals and nicotine. When youth use e-cigarettes, they're at risk for nicotine addiction. Their brains are not mature, so they are more likely to become addicted to nicotine, even with occasional or intermittent use.
Nicotine exposure during adolescence affects the way the brain grows and develops, affecting learning, mood, and impulse control.
When youth vape, they can have health problems, whether it's from the nicotine and nicotine addiction, or it's from lung injury.
Both the FDA and the National Institutes of Health are conducting research to better understand the long-term health effects of vaping.
We want to keep these products out of the hands of youth so they can't easily access nicotine products and get addicted so quickly.
The important thing is to have the correct health information and to share with your child the health risks of vaping.
It is something that we really have to tackle together.
Here are some examples of what common vaping devices can look like. You will see they look like everyday device items, such as USB devices, whiteout devices, dollar bills. They look like pens. They look like other kinds of items that students would possibly need to use in school. They have different kinds of things like tanks and modes. They have things with rechargeable e-cigarettes where they charge up in the computer. They have disposable e-cigarettes that look actually like cigarettes. And then here are some other items that are e-cigarettes where students can use. Right here, this looks like a simple candy device, but actually it is an e-cigarette used device. You'll see over here, these are little flash drives it looks like the students would be using to save their work. However, they are used for vaping. Simply, how do e-cigarettes work?
Many teens think e-cigarettes are a safe alternative to traditional cigarettes. But like smoking, using e-cigarettes or vaping can harm your health. Often called vapes, e-cigarettes come in different shapes and sizes. They may be designed to look like tobacco cigarettes, or resemble everyday objects like USB sticks. While they may look different, e-cigarettes are all designed to work in similar ways. When someone puffs on the mouthpiece, a battery heats up a liquid contained inside the device. This liquid then turns into an aerosol that is inhaled. The aerosol resembles a vapor. Depending on the device, e-cigarette aerosol may appear as a thick cloud or be barely visible. But all e-cigarette aerosols are a mixture of chemicals, some of which are known to be harmful. Some of these substances are in the liquid, such as nicotine, the same highly addictive chemical in tobacco, and chemicals used to flavor the aerosol. These flavor chemicals can be harmful to the lungs when inhaled. Some of the chemicals in the aerosol are created when the e-cigarette liquid is heated. These can include acrolein, a potentially harmful chemical also used in weed killers. If that's not enough, some e-cigarette aerosol also contain toxic metals. So think about it. When someone vapes, they can be exposing their body to a number of harmful chemicals. To find out more, watch the next video.
Vaping affects the brain, the heart, and the lungs of children and adolescents. It also affects the brain. The area of the brain that controls executive functions is the last to develop. And you'll see in this image that the 5-year-old brain, the preteen brain, the teen brain, and the 20-year-old brain all has a different part where it is matured. And where our students are, or your child is in the preteen adolescent brain here, is still barely developed in the sense of maturing. This is where our students and your child, when it comes to vaping, their brain is not matured and isn't close to being matured, which will cause future challenges for them as they get older. When a preteen or adolescent vapes, epinephrine is released into the bloodstream, and it stimulates the central nervous system, increasing blood pressure, breathing, and heart rate. It causes the nicotine activates the brain reward system, and it increases levels of a chemical messenger in the brain called dopamine, which reinforces the rewarding behavior. This means the brain starts to like this and wants more and more and more of the nicotine and what it's getting from the vaping. What can you do to help your child practice ways to say no if they have been asked to vape or they're trying to stop vaping? It's hard to accept the peer pressure or to not get caught up in what other teens or their peers are doing. Simply, number one is they have to realize that they need to talk to their parent or a trusted adult or a friend at the school. They need to be able to walk away or do something else. They need to be able to say, nah, it's not my thing, or go do something else. And it's tough for students or children to say no, especially when they're in middle school or high school. But we have to practice with our children and our students how to be confident and how to realize that their health is very important to them, and that once or twice using a vape could really have some detrimental effects on their health. Now we're going to watch a short video clip from a newscast of what vaping can do to your body.
As we now know more information about the record-setting vaping crisis. During the last year, the CDC reports 54 people died and more than 2,500 were put in the hospital nationwide this year due to vaping-related injuries. Now, new cases are still being reported weekly. This morning, 2 Works for You's Del Puente shows us what a single puff could do to your lungs.
Cardiac surgeon Lucian Durham says inhaling a single puff from a vape could make you his next patient. The lung damage he's seen in patients ranging in age from 16 to 60 is the equivalent to someone smoking cigarettes for decades.
It literally can kill you the first time you try it.
He says the liquid chemicals are the culprit. When they are all flash heated at once, no one can predict what you're about to breathe in. The unsafe ingredients may even sound harmless, like vitamin E oil.
When you inhale it, it goes down and basically coats the alveoli.
Those are tiny sacs of the lungs which are crucial in your breathing. If that's coated, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide cannot happen.
So you get low oxygen and high CO2, and the high carbon dioxide in the blood turns into acid.
Your body does not function well in an acidic environment. That causes an inflammatory response in your body called acute respiratory distress syndrome.
They deteriorate very quickly, get short of breath, lightheaded, pass out, cardiac arrest. We've had a couple of them show up getting CPR because it's gotten so bad.
And you end up on this scary machine until your body can safely breathe on its own again.
We've had some patients come in that literally looked like they were going to die before we got them on support.
He says a common myth is that patients only end up like this if they are vaping with THC, the chemical in marijuana that gives users a high.
No, there's really no one particular substrate that causes it.
That unpredictability is why he and health officials are warning that there is no safe way to vape. Giselle Puente, 2 Works for You.
As stakeholders, educators, parents, just human beings, what we can do is realize it takes a village and it's just not on one person. We need to look out for our students, educate our parents, and realize we need to let our children know that vaping is not okay. Continued education with our parents and adults and those who can influence students, and educating our students will hopefully help decrease the use of vaping among our preteens, adolescents, and our youth today. Hopefully, our educators and parents, you guys were able to get some kind of resources out of this and some information. If you'd like any more, here are some resources, and you can always go to the FDA, the NIHA, and other resources, including scholastic.com, as they have worked with the FDA to create resources on vaping, specifically to work with educators and parents about the health effects of vaping.